welcome back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
And remember, our goal is always to guide you to personal and financial wellness.
Well, we thank you for joining the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. For 8 years, we've been sharing with you what you need to know, want to know, should know about real estate, finance, and guiding you to personal and financial wellness. And speaking on that term, this show is amazing, Gino.
Well, what we always do, as you said, is guide you to personal and financial wellness. And sometimes that's about making more money, but sometimes it's about protecting yourself. And today is going to be a little bit more about protecting yourself. Because if you lose money, sometimes you could spend years and years and years building something, and it could be gone just like that. So it's very important that you protect your assets.
Look at you go, being very clever and punny, Gino. So yes, if it isn't you that's wanting to start your own business, has started your business, thinking about starting a business, know somebody who's starting a business, I can guarantee you, Gino, and I've been part of many of them, we have multiple businesses, that you're going to mess up. I'm telling you, you just are, because you don't know what you don't know until it's too late, or you may have just gotten lucky to this stage before someone came after you, and it could cost you dearly. It could cost you your business, it could cost you the relationship, it could cost you all the hard work you went into it. So we brought in a business attorney / business expert that helps businesses structure their companies correctly so they don't fail.
Yep, and it's really important, Don, that you mentioned it, you get lucky, right? Because usually nothing happens. Most of the time nothing happens. You can run a business for a very long time, never be sued, never have something go wrong, never have somebody get hurt, never have somebody upset at you. You can get along pretty well without anything happening.
Yeah, well,
it's just that one time.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
And it could be, and you could think you're being smart. My tax man said, just do it this way. That doesn't protect you, just so you know. So we brought in Roger Doumanian. Doumanian?
Yes,
Doumanian?
You
making sure I
yeah,
said.
You've
been on the show, but I'm making sure I said it right. And basically, Roger's dedicated his career now as a business attorney and business coach, speaker, author. Has his own book that we're going to flash up here. Probably he's going to do it in post, don't you worry about it. Yeah. The 6 pillars of business. But today we're going to talk about something that's imperative because tax laws have changed. A lot of you are thinking, oh, I'll just start up my own little LLC, my own corp, and I'll be protected. Believe me, Gino and I have done a lot of work with, we have how many, I don't know, LLCs? It's ridiculous. So, but we've been learning along the way. But let's take a shortcut and bring in an expert. So that's why Roger's here. He's going to talk about the 10 ways a business can fail or not protect you because your corporation isn't set up correctly. Am I right?
Absolutely, yes. Or 10 mistakes that you can make that will allow your corporation protections to be set aside and actually allow, if you're in a lawsuit or there's a judgment against you, for the other side to be able to attach yourself to attach themselves to your personal assets. So absolutely. Yeah.
So let's get a little background from you, Roger. Tell us what exactly. So how did you come up with this information, right? So it's many years of experience in the courts, I'm assuming. And you've seen the mistakes. You've seen what the judges are currently, how they practice, I guess you could say, right? How they enforce the law.
Yeah, absolutely. So really my background, I'm mainly a transactional attorney. I do a lot of corporate transaction. I pride myself in helping my clients stay out of court rather than go in and bail them out of court after they've gotten in trouble, right? So I'm very heavily focused, my practice is very heavily focused both in the coaching and the legal aspects of my business. I'm very heavily focused on educating my clients and keeping them out. Now, you guys are in the mortgage business. You know that buying a house, buying your dream home, buying investment homes, it's a shiny penny. It's not a cheap investment. There's a lot in there, right? And it's wonderful to have those properties and make those investments to buy your dream home. But most of us, if they're like me, like my wife and I are going into the market now, getting ready to look for a home. And if you're like us, you also own a business and it's incorporated. And in the back of your mind, if you know much about the corporate protections that are allotted, these days, you'll feel at peace that if something goes wrong with your business, it's not going to make its way to your personal assets.
Hopefully,
and
that's the idea.
That's the idea, but
Right.
that's far from the truth, because nowadays, especially in the state of California, and if you're a one-person corporation or a mom-and-pop corporation, it is becoming easier and easier to do something called piercing the corporate veil, which is the process of setting aside the corporate protections and going after your personal assets because either your corporation is undercapitalized or it doesn't have the funds to pay for a judgment or a settlement or any kind of dispute that you're having with someone. And when you're in that situation, and let's say on top of that you're underinsured or you don't have enough insurance to cover for your liabilities, or the liabilities are something that they can't be covered or won't be covered by the insurance, misrepresentation, fraud, anything like that, guess what? The plaintiff's attorney is going to want to come after your personal assets, if you have any, to collect on their fees and the amount of judgment on behalf of their client.
So let's look at
before I'm going to scare the heck out of all you why you need to pay attention to this, because like you said, you may have gotten advice from your tax person or a friend, or you thought you went through who knows LegalZoom or whatever it is, and you think you're protected. But if you have basically someone's coming after you and they get a good attorney, what'd you say? 99% of the time it will be proven that you pierce the corporate veil?
So studies show that in California, the California judges, if you're a mom and pop corporation, husband and wife, or an individual, 99% of the time, if there's an attempt to pierce the corporate veil, it will be pierced. If you are a more than one person, non-related individuals, so not husband and wife, and you're functioning properly as a corporation, that drops to 50%, which is still a very high number. California, along with 2 other states, are that high, and it's getting worse over time because the courts are tending to favor the consumer, the employee, whoever it is that's coming after you. And let's not even open the can of worms of employees and employment labor law violations and matters surrounding that arena. I mean, that's a nightmare in and of itself, and even more reason why you really want your structure and your foundation to be properly set up.
So let's talk about a couple real life examples. We can talk about a business and your personal property, or we could talk about a real estate business and your personal property. So personally, I'd like to talk a little bit about real estate because I think if you own investment property, an LLC is something you've at least discussed with someone at some time as maybe a good idea. And, you know, over many, many years, because of different tax strategies, for different reasons, because you don't want to have the cost. Because the reality is it creates a significant cost once you segregate it out and you have an LLC. It's not really as beneficial tax, potentially. Not as beneficial tax-wise. And additionally, you're going to have more expensive insurance, attorney's fees to maintain documents that you need to maintain, statement of information, fees with the state for the Secretary of State. So it can be expensive. So there's a time and place for it. But when you do it, is it done correctly? And now I even take it to one level further. Is it a waste of time if 99% of the time it's going to give me no protection?
Okay,
this is where you come in, Roger.
Yeah, that's a lot of topics to cover, but let me start with the whole it gets expensive. You're absolutely right, it gets expensive, but it's a mental thing. Because when you're planning to buy that property, let's say, right? Let's say the business is a property, a rental property, and you're going to dump it into an LLC. What is the nature of that business? The rental property, right? So you got to calculate over the course of 10 years, let's say, calculate the legal costs associated in keeping that entity separate and apart from you as its own corporation or LLC, functioning on its own with its own capitalization, with its own finances, with its own operation, right? So you got to calculate that as a part of the expense that you're investing in the very beginning. If you do that, you're not going to be shocked by what it costs, because it doesn't cost a lot of money to set these things up properly and then maintain them, right? And I know we don't have a lot of time, but in a little bit, I'll go over the 10 reasons why LLCs, corporate protections are being set aside. And in reality, most of them don't cost a lot of money, if at all, in order for you to have the proper structure in place to implement these things, right? Yes, it costs money to build to form the LLC and then to do the annual compliance, to do some of the filing fees, but the governance, the maintenance, and really running it with ethics, integrity, and honesty, it doesn't take much, and those are the things that keep you out of the courtroom.
So it takes knowledge and knowing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's why we have Roger Doumanian. And we're going to be back. That's a great segue, Roger. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the 10 reasons why your corporation will fail to protect you, and this is imperative. If it's not for you, I guarantee it's for somebody you know, or for your future. You should know this. You're going to be shocked, and great information for Robert Doumanian. What's your website so people can check it out?
Sure, it's rogerdoumanian.com, R-O-G-E-R, my last name, D-O-U-M-A-N-I-A-N.com.
All right, great stuff coming right up. Don't go away. You're not going to miss this.